All right, everybody. It's that exciting time of year where it's probably too early, but we're going to start diving into predictions for next upcoming NFL season. And I think we kind of wanted to go conference. We'd go like today. We're starting with AFC, NFC East. Each show for the next couple weeks here, we're going to do, one from each conference, so two divisions total, 8 teams. We're going to break down.
It's a 5-week prediction show.
Because we're going to end it with our big one, right? Yeah. So we're going to talk about each of the teams, kind of where they're at this point in the offseason, a ceiling for each team, a floor for each team, and record predictions of the division standings at the end of the division. I know a lot can change between first week of July and the first week of September, but what else is there to talk about? Really?
Yeah.
So
100%.
So let's get into it.
Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the NFC East, the most over talked about division in the NFL, possibly. Maybe not anymore. I don't know.
I did my record predictions, and I feel like I gave this division way too many wins. An absurd amount.
Yeah, I had to go. I went week by week with each of these teams to just kind of say win loss, and I don't know. This division, I see two clear cut teams that are going to be in contention for the number one spot. Mm-hmm. We'll get into that last, though. Let's get into predictions last.
Let's start with the Eagles. So ceiling, where do you have them?
Ceiling, I have them going to like NFC Championship, divisional round. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team.
Say divisional round.
But like ceiling would be making it further into the playoffs than they did last year, and Jalen Hurts really cementing himself as their answer. That's kind of like, if I'm an Eagles fan, I would love to see that this season from them. I think adding A.J. Brown was a phenomenal idea, especially for the value. They just traded a first-round pick and some other little extra goodies. But they clearly have kind of struggled drafting receivers.
Yeah, but they avoided their biggest issue.
Right, which is why it's a great pick. They got a solidified star, and they also actually drafted a great receiver last year. So now they got arguably the best duo in the NFL. I know it's probably not everyone's take, but you can make an argument. You could. AJ Brown and Smith. There's an argument to be made that they're one of the best duos.
Did he make that much of an impact on you last year?
Yes. Because they could have gone into the season with just him, and maybe, I know like Quez Watkins looked pretty good, and like
you look at the top four, not wide receivers, but receiving position players in the draft last year. You had Jamar Chase, you had Jalen Waddle, Kyle Pitts, Devontae Smith. There might have been one more that I'm blanking on right now, but I'm pretty sure that those were the top four picked.
You say Waddle? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jamar Chase, he was not better than, obviously. Jamar Chase was arguably the best receiver in football last year. Jalen Waddle, you could probably put them neck and neck, I would say. Waddle had a good season.
Well, look, they have
and he was an impact player.
They have a common point, though. They have a quarterback
that needs to
take a step. They need to take a further step. So
Kyle Pitts, who I don't know why everybody's on Kyle Pitts' jockstrap all of a sudden. The guy had one touchdown. He had, some good games last year, but sheesh. But yeah.
I'm not saying he is the best. I'm just saying that duo, you can make an argument.
Yeah.
And because Brown is that good. Brown is really, really good.
Brown is that guy.
And
he is him.
I think Sirianni, especially, we were very down on him at the start of last season. And I think he did a lot to really impress. And dude, they made the playoffs last year. Yeah. I know it's a rocky division, but no one expected that out the gate, and they had a nice draft. They actually maneuvered and turned some of these picks into next year's picks. So they're on the right track, no doubt. It's only up from here, it appears. So I kind of have division, playoff game, conference would be peak.
Yeah,
ceiling.
I think so too.
I think
I really do. They would have to get a really good divisional round matchup for them to make it into there, I think.
Floor for you?
Missing the playoffs. I think anything less than playoffs this year is bad year for them. I think that they have. I would say that they have like a. I mean, we already alluded to it. This division is really a 2-horse race between the Cowboys and the Eagles.
Oh, see, we're not aligned with that.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, half of it we are.
But. Yeah, half obviously, but I think that they are. Even though I think it's a 2-horse, I mean, we both think it's a 2-horse race. The other team we'll get into, but I think that the Eagles are still like I don't know half a horse ahead of the other team. Like they're by far I think the best team in this division, so they should win this division. It's theirs for the it's theirs to lose.
I think floor. I really think that's the thing about this division specifically is like you never know.
That's true.
They could take a huge step back out of nowhere, and
I think I would point to Jalen Hurts.
That's exactly where I was going to go with. I think the floor is that he isn't good, and he's not the guy, and no matter what you put around him, maybe he's just not the guy, and you miss the playoffs, and kind of just echo everything you're saying. So kind of similar. Yeah, I mean, I don't predict them finishing near the bottom. I think they'll be middling floor.
Third, second place.
Yeah.
Missing the wild.
They're too talented to go much lower than that, I think.
No, I agree 100%.
Next team.
Cowboys, I also see them taking a step back this year.
Seems to be the consensus right now.
I don't know. Not necessarily a step back. They're in this pattern where they can't beat like good teams, but they beat up on bad teams for the most part.
Here's the thing. They traded Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Cedric Wilson's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Zeke is
a shell of him.
He has been at this point.
Yeah.
Pollard is pretty good. Yeah.
Offensive line, though, not what it was.
Dak is pretty good, but not elite. Sorry. Yeah. That's my take on it.
I'd agree.
And Trayvon Diggs is not going to have the season he had last year.
No.
Because while he did have a great interception number last year,
he was one of the worst cornerbacks in coverage.
One of the most overrated cornerbacks in the league.
By far.
This team is not going to do what they did last year. I'm sorry. They're not going to. So it's going to be a step back for them because the roster is worse. They're not going to get as lucky. They're just another year older. They would need Dak to be the guy who could propel them and keep them going, but he's not that guy to me. I don't know.
You're not that guy, pal.
Trust me, pal. You're not that guy.
Yeah.
Go yourself.
I don't know. It just seems like it's the Cowboys' forte every year to get a good amount of wins, maybe make the playoffs, and then blow it in the playoffs.
But here's the worst thing about it. Okay, we just talked about all these negative things about them. Their ceiling is still the Super Bowl. Because that's where
the national media.
That's where they are trying to get. Yeah. That's where people are saying this should be a Super Bowl team. That's where they see themselves.
Yeah.
But the floor could be like a 6-win team. You know what I mean? Yeah. It could go either way so sharply. And there was Sean Payton whispers and McCarthy's on the hot seat big time. 100%. There's only two directions this thing is going to go. It's either last year they're going to, repeat what they did last year and go far-ish, or they're going to implode.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with implode if I had to guess right now. Too. I don't know.
I think, I don't know. I don't necessarily see him imploding. I really don't.
Everyone else in the division is getting better than them, and they're regressing.
You think the Giants got better?
I think their coach is going to be better. I think he'll get more out of the roster. Spoiler alert, I have them finishing last, obviously, in this division, but they will be better than last year, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I have them finishing up pretty high, but I agree with everything you say. I think they're still in that area where they're going to beat up on teams that are not as good as them. And
their schedule doesn't have that many games though, where they have those opportunities. So. They got a couple They got a couple games.
A couple gimmies.
Like that. Like they got like the Jags. They got a few games. They got the Lions. I mean, they got a couple games here and there. Bears.
I will say, yeah, they got. Obviously, they have to face every first place NFC team from last year. So Rams, Bucks.
Yeah, like Green Bay. Like they're not gonna beat Green Bay. Like
no, I agree.
You know,
that's what I'm saying. They're not going to beat the Rams. They're not going to beat Tampa. They're not going to beat Green Bay. They're not going to beat, who's the AFC? I think they're facing AFC South.
So they got the Colts, which I don't think they're going to beat.
Titans.
Oh yeah, Titans. Sorry. Yeah.
Colts. I would say that's a toss-up. I really don't know what that team is going to look like with Matt Ryan at the helm. But yeah, I mean, but every other team, like I have to imagine, they absolutely spanked the Eagles both games last year, didn't they? I know for a fact they did.
The last one, I know they destroyed them for sure.
And then the first one was on Monday Night Football, and they absolutely demolished the Eagles.
Guess they did then.
So I see
but they're not the same team. They're a worse team, is my point.
I mean, yeah, they lost Amari, but
like Micah Parsons, like I know he's already being crowned as the best player in the league, but like the best defensive player in the league, air quotes. But like, teams are gonna factor him now. Like it's not gonna be like they're gonna plan for him now. Like last year he was like a breakout rookie, and like people aren't gonna fall for that again. Like this is gonna be a worse team. I don't buy it. I don't buy them being a contender for anything. I really don't. They might make the wild card.
I think the talent is there for them to win more games than they lose.
I want winners.
Third team.
I think the Commanders came in third place last year, right?
They did.
Formerly known as the football team.
Now, I said that this is a 2-horse race, and my tone about Dallas should be pretty apparent as to who my second horse in the race is here.
The Commanders are going to take a step forward.
I do.
You believe in wins?
You know what? I think he's the best quarterback that they've had since Kirk Cousins, probably. I don't think that's much of a... I mean, Alex Smith was fine, but he wasn't play there very long, and they're kind of in a weird spot when they had him. So I think he's an upgraded quarterback. We didn't talk about it at the top of the show, but they did re-sign Scary Terry to a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
I think $70 million is about the potential worth it could be. So,
thank you. God, I can't remember this guy's name. Who signed with the Jags?
Oh, Kirk.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, Scary Terry deserves.
Kirk who?
Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk. God almighty. Thank you. That's driving me nuts. Thank you, Christian Kirk, for helping Scary get the money that he deserves.
Yeah, he deserves to get paid. Rivera's in, I think, year 3 now, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Good coach, good running game, to potentially very good defense. That defensive line is like really solid.
They gotta rise to that potential though.
I know, but they're not going into the season with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Taylor Heineke. I mean, I can believe in this a little bit more. I know Carson Wentz is kind of a polarizing guy, but and I'm not going to dig up the fucking MVP argument from when he was, the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Oh, thank God.
All those many moons ago, but
obviously not the same quarterback.
Yeah, but he's an upgrade.
I'd agree.
Weak division, overall, I think the Eagles are really their only challenge to me. I don't know. And they also get to play all the third place teams, and they can probably beat a bunch of those.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
I have them. Well, I'm not going to say where their record is, but ceiling, division win, and maybe a playoff win. I don't know. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team, but maybe a playoff win. That'd be pretty good for them.
I mean, that would be tough getting the playoff win, because you have to imagine if they're winning the division, they're probably the 4th seed, right?
Yeah. Probably.
Which means they're facing the next highest team
probably
outside of division winners, which would probably be something like San Francisco or Arizona.
Yeah, but you know what? They made it. They made it. Not last year, but the year before, when Tampa won the Super Bowl, and they gave Tampa, pretty.
Tampa, anything can happen when you're at home in the playoffs. Absolutely.
So that's their ceiling to me, is getting a playoff win and winning the division. But floor it's much more interesting to me, because as we're recording this, their owner is facing just a giant shit pile of legal stuff, and we're not going to get into all of that. But you could have a giant shakeup there.
I think everybody's rooting for that.
Wentz could bomb.
Yeah.
This team could just not like
defense
hit
plays even
right.
shittier than last year somehow.
Gibson could continue to struggle with injury. Like there's a lot of ways that this could go where it could be pretty bad. I think there's a lot of likely scenarios where it does go bad, but like I'm more of a believer in them than I am the Cowboys and the Giants at this point.
Yeah, I would agree. I think their ceiling is more realistic than their floor.
Realism, I'd say they're about even, but
really,
yeah, because it's pretty realistic that a bunch of bad shit happens to that team because they're pretty they're pretty snake bitten. So
that is so true. I don't know. Maybe changing the name to Commanders got rid of all the bad juju, but I would agree for the most part. I would say that I don't know. In my belief, I think their ceiling is wild card, and that probably means that they're getting they're scraping into the 7th seed. Because I mean, you look at the teams in the NFC, like there's just no way that they're going to get the 5th of this.
Hey man, NFC is way more open than the AFC at this point.
I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that. There's clear cut. Yeah, Packers are clear cut in my opinion. The Eagles are clear cut in my opinion. Tampa's clear cut in my opinion.
See, I don't think Eagles or Tampa are, to be honest.
Well, Eagles is obviously the weakest one, but Tampa is 100%.
We'll save that for NFC South show.
That was the best team in the NFL last year in the regular season. I'm pretty sure. And then you have San Francisco, Arizona in the NFC West. You got New Orleans, which, I mean, that one's obviously very shaky, but who knows? You got Dallas. You got Minnesota, who's always fighting for that wild card.
There's a bunch of reasons that all of those could explode, though.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the AFC, Buffalo, Ravens, Bengals, like teams that are clear cut, like Chiefs, Broncos. These are teams that like they could dunk on the NFC.
I would say that nothing is clear cut in the AFC. Especially you look at the best division in football now is the AFC West. And you cannot confidently tell me that you're 100% certain that the Chiefs are going to win that this year.
No, I'm not. But all 4 of those teams are playoff teams. All 4.
Yeah, absolutely. All 4 can make it, but are they? No. That's why. But I mean, like that's why I'm saying I feel like the odds of the NFC being shaped up the way that it has been compared to like last year is more, I feel like, more realistic than the AFC is. Especially if you look at the team like the Titans. Who knows what they're going to do? We'll get to them later.
So your floor for
ceiling for the Commanders is wild card.
Okay.
Floor would probably be 4 wins.
That's so bad. That's like an implosion.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
I think that's possible.
Wow. I don't see it, but
you gotta give them. You gotta widen the field goal posts. So when we come back to this, I can be like, "Well, I was right in the middle."
Fair,
right?
Well, let's talk about the last team in the NFC East, the one that I do have.
Don't even want to talk.
I do have them getting about 4 wins. I'll spoil that. Yeah. The Giants, and I think
it's like who gives a shit.
Well, like they've been irrelevant for so long. Yeah. Like they've had an awful 5 to 6 seasons at this point. Like just straight shit. And they've been unbearable to watch. The Joe Judge experiment was train wreck. The Kenny Golladay, James Bradbury contracts were awful. I think Bradbury's on the Eagles. Yeah, he's on the Eagles now. Yeah. I mean, Gettleman was a fucking horrible GM. Like they are. I kind of have them. Their schedule's tough too, by the way. So I wrote down like a couple things about them, and I feel like they are. I think they're going to get a couple. They're going to stay like kind of 500 for the first couple weeks, like first month and a half. But honestly, the last like 10 weeks, I have them losing almost every game.
This sounds so. This sounds so realistic as to like what I was thinking when I went through it.
Like they got a really tough stretch. Yeah,
They go Titans, which is probably a loss. Panthers, which could be a win.
Could be a win, yeah.
Cowboys, which I would say that's a loss. Bears, which could be a win. Packers,
loss.
So
it's about 500.
Until now. Up until 5 weeks, and then they got the Packers and they got the Ravens, which is tough. Jaguars and the Seahawks and the Texans, and the Lions, which is kind of easy. And then they go through the divisional gauntlet. It's going to be really interesting. But I agree. I roughly around 500 at the beginning, and then they dive on there at the end.
And I think Daniel Jones will be better than he was last year, at least, because number one, he's playing for his future there and maybe somewhere else at this point. Because even if he does have a good year, who knows if they're going to re-sign him? It's pretty much a completely new regime at this point over there with GM and coach. So I think he'll be better, but he is not done. He's like jack shit to prove that he's a franchise quarterback.
Nearly enough.
So I don't believe that he's going to propel them anywhere. I think their defense is bad. I mean, okay at best, I guess. The receiving core is potentially good.
Yeah,
but there's already shit coming out about Kadarius Toney wanting to be out of there, and they overpaid Kenny Golladay, who had any touchdowns last year? 0.
I have no idea. Absolutely abysmal season.
Who's also, not to dunk on Kenny Golladay because he's not in Detroit anymore, but he's a sneaky 28, 29 at this point.
Is he really?
He's like 28.
No shot.
Yeah.
Dude, Bob Quinn drafted him.
Yeah, he's about 28. So yeah, look it up. You look it up right now.
Wow, he's 28.
Yeah.
When did he get drafted?
I don't know, but he was like a 3rd round pick, and maybe his age had something to do with it. He was about 20, maybe 23 when he got drafted. So yeah, he was in Detroit
born in 93. It's crazy.
But yeah, he obviously underperformed last year, and
underperformed like crazy.
Saquon is a complete question mark at this point. I mean, clearly the dude has the potential to be
great,
top 5 running back in the league.
He needs a better line, and he needs to stay healthy.
And I don't know if their offensive line is any better. I mean, I know they have Andrew Thomas, and I think they drafted someone in the draft top 10 this year. But they have shown
they're trying to build from, much like Detroit, trying to build from the trenches out. Drafted Thibodeau and an offensive lineman in the top 10 this year.
Predicted correctly by me, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is definitely a team where pretty quickly we're going to find out if there's anything to be salvaged here with the new staff. And then when things go south, which I think they will pretty quick, again, after that first couple games, they're just going to clear house. They're just going to they're going to keep the coach and the GM because they just brought him in.
Yeah.
But this season is like a reclamation project. So ceiling for them, I'm seriously 8 wins. That's like a ceiling for them. If they get 8 wins, to me, I think that maybe they figured some stuff out, and maybe it sucks. It's another year of Giants football. It's fucking a snooze fest, and no one wants to watch it. But you know what? They put themselves there, so I don't really feel that bad for them.
Yeah.
Floor is a 2-win season. Daniel Jones is awful.
Worst in the league.
Tyrod Taylor's
could very well end up being the worst in the league.
Yeah, that's the ceiling. Or sorry, floor. Yeah.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with the floor. I guess miracle season they would be getting into the wild card. But yeah, the more we talk about it, the more that doesn't seem realistic. I guess ceiling probably would be around 8 wins.
There's just a couple teams that it's already kind of clear cut right now. Right now, anyways, before the season started, that they're not going to get the playoffs. It's just Seahawks. We know, there's no way. Bears, no way. Jaguars, probably not. Texans, probably. There's a lot of teams where we can kind of go,
yeah.
And they're one of them to me.
Who's coaching the Jaguars now?
Doug Peterson.
Oh, that's right.
They got an adult in the room.
Yeah,
that's good.
All right.
This is the part where we predict the standings.
Okay. Yeah. How about we go 4th place finish record, and then we'll work our way up.
Sure.
So in 4th place, finishing at 5-12, I have the New York Giants.
I have them at 4-13.
Yeah, just about the same. Who do you have in 3rd?
Dallas Cowboys, 7-10 final record.
Interesting. Okay, I have the Washington Commanders at 8-9. So far, with both teams, we're just 1 win off.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one division I feel like where you kind of shuffle the dominoes, and yeah.
It's funny. I thought I gave this division too many wins, but we might just actually be like right with each other with this.
Well, I'm gonna throw you for a loop here because okay. I got Philly second place.
Wow! Holy shit!
10-7, so they're kind of sneaking into the wild card, and kind of like last year.
Dallas 10-7.
That's your second place.
That's my second place.
Okay. Number 1, I have the Commanders.
11-6.
11-6.
I have the Philadelphia Eagles finishing 11-6.
I gotta say, I think the Commanders' schedule is
very favorable.
It's favorable, and if it works, it's gonna work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like if their defense actually steps up,
they won't drop games.
They could be elite.
They shouldn't. And they'll probably
if Wentz isn't a complete bum and an upgrade, they'll be better. They got McLaurin. They got a good running game. They got a good coach. Like, if it's gonna work, it's gonna work this year, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 11-6.
Interesting. Okay. So just to recap, you have the New York Giants finishing 4-13. I have them finishing 5-12 and dead last. You have the Dallas Cowboys finishing 7-10. I have the Washington Commanders finishing 8-9 in third. In second place, I have the Dallas Cowboys finishing 10-7. You have the Philadelphia Eagles finishing 10-7, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then in first place, you have the Washington Commanders at 11-6. I have the Philadelphia Eagles at 11-6.
Yeah, and Commanders and Eagles for me, it's a 1 game difference, so they're neck and neck at that point.